Welcome back to Iron Squid Chapter 2. We now know that Brown is sitting in the finals, awaiting the winner of the upcoming match, MarineKing Prime versus Acer's Scarlett. Oh, yes, Kelaris. We get to watch this game.
It's going to be pretty cool. I've been a big fan of Scarlett ever since she suddenly appeared randomly onto the scene during one of the IPLs where Demuslin decided to give her an extra game. I remember she built an evolution chamber instead of a spawning pool. Rats. But yeah, so Scarlett's taken on a lot of skill since then. I think it was you last time we were speaking about her who told me that Scarlett, if you tally up the tournaments she's gone to and compare that to how much she's won, she's like one of the highest earning players ever in terms of how many tournaments.
Yeah, she has, what is it? It's like the highest games to earnings ratio. When she shows up, she wins. She doesn't show up very often, but when she does, she wins. So the most notable aspect to Scarlett's play is the creep spread. And in Zerg vs. Taran, that's the one matchup where, in my eyes, creep spread has the most significant impact. It doesn't really have that huge of an impact in Zerg vs. Zerg and Zerg vs. Protoss compared to how it does in Zerg vs. Terran. There are attacks that you would say, if your creep spread's good enough, you can hold this off. And if it isn't, you can't. You need to be able to reposition because you need your whole army to delay. And then with the creep spread, you can move around and cut the army off and then flank from two angles. Again, only possible with creep spread. And Scarlett is fantastic at creep spread. Absolute, literally #1 creep spreader in my eyes. And I'm thrilled to see how quickly it's going to be crossing that map.
You're right. She's very, very strong with it. And it's funny because whenever you see those posts on Reddit that's like, wow, well, look at this creep spread by Scarlett, 9 times out of 10, it's always against Koreans that she's just vanquished. So got to be kind of scared here for MarineKing, who will be playing under the name Beryl in this game coming up. But yeah, you're right. It's all about those delay tactics. It's all about the mobility, and Scarlett's been able to go for that tenfold. It's been great. Now, coming to MarineKing Prime, our first map will end up being Ohana. This is the map where MarineKing generally will just go Marine Tank, then start mixing in Marauders, even without scouting some kind of Ultralist tech, and then he actually eventually transitions onto Ravens, even before patch. So if we get far enough, then we could quite easily see MarineKing Prime working in some very, very cool tactics of his own.
Yeah, I'm always interested to see what MarineKing Prime is busting out. You know, the point about getting the Ravens quite early. I mean, that's a trend we're seeing a lot of Terrans start to do because they're, I would say for a long while, players were dumping everything into let's kill Zerg before he hits Broodlord tech.
Yeah, yeah.
And and like any timing push, it's changed from let's kill the guy to let's do this to wound the guy. And now I need to have a plan for what to do afterwards. And so we're seeing players even preemptively go for Ravens. I will say, though, on this map especially, I still am a fan of the 3-base aggressive timing.
Yeah.
That's really, really, really effective on this map just due to the close distances, unless there's good creep spread.
You mean like I'm assuming you're talking about timings with like 2-2, a lot of tanks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those can be very, very strong. You're right, and it works nicely because the fourth can sometimes be a little hard to hold, especially if your opponent does have that good creep spread, like we see from Scarlett. So MarineKing, I still think he's going to have his work cut out for him. Scarlett's pretty. I mean, her statistics in this matchup aren't that great if you look at the raw statistics, but the times where you just see her beating Korean Terrans in like team leagues, for example, it happens a lot. So we'll see how MKP is going to have to hold up.
Well, the first map on Ohana, I think, has produced probably the absolute best TVCs. I absolutely love Zerg vs. Terran on this map. It just always ends up kind of funky. And, I actually want to take a moment to talk a little bit about the standard essentials of Terran vs. Zerg, which is the 7 to 13 minute window. And it is in that window when Zerg is doing all the powering up, rounding out all the opening techs, layer infestation pit, starting 2-2. And then it's from 13 to 17 when Taran has the big window. That's when all the layer tech is done, but Broodlords and Ultralisks can't yet be out. And in fact, attacking in that timing punishes players who are a little too overeager to get the Broodlords up. The only way to effectively hold off that attack is to really have excessive creep spread and lings. So let's see what Scarlett has in store as the game boots up.
Yep, we shall now be having our first player spawning up in the top left-hand corner here as our blue Taran. He's apparently named Beryl in this game, but don't be fooled, he is MarineKing Prime.
And down in the bottom right, it is everyone's favorite Canadian superstar Zerg. From Team Acer, it is Scarlett, going for a 9 Overlord, almost getting my heart rate going with a potential 9 pool, but goodness no, Scarlett is not going to be doing her Startail life impersonation.
No, no, no. Spreading the creep to our hearts. No, okay, I'll stop that. Anyway, so for now.
Oh, James Carroll.
God damn.
Oh, so smooth.
I must admit, I have a soft spot for Scarlett. It was weird because at BWC, I was like, wow, yeah, because we'd like talk on Skype. It's like, yeah, we're going to meet each other. That's pretty cool or whatever. And then like, we were just like both, I was just both shy because I'm just a shy person in general. She's a shy person in general. We were just like both shy. We just didn't really talk much. It was kind of weird, but it's all right. Next time we see each other, we'll be more comfortable and it'll be okay. But
James Carroll, shyness is a problem I have never had.
Really? Oh, okay. I would have
Being
never
overly excited about things is a problem that I consistently have. In fact, my roommates always tease me that I like everything. I am like I have a goldfish level memory combined with a puppy level excitement. Like whenever my roommate makes potato leek soup, I'm like, Kyla, oh my god, this soup is so good. Please don't eat all of it. I have to have this soup. And she's like, Sean, I'm making 4 gallons. There's going to be extra soup. I'm like, don't eat it all. It's actually amazing. I put a little Cholula in it.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you. Thank you, Sean. Your confidence is astounding. No, I jest. As for now, what do we have Mr. MarineKing Prime doing? He's making command center, and we have double barracks on the way behind that. No gases just yet. I'm anticipating some gases very soon. It's normally what he ends up doing. But the 2 barracks, as opposed to just 1 barracks, is really, really nice, just to forego any kind of craziness early on.
Yeah, it certainly lets you abate any early circling pressure, but I think more importantly, on a map that is small distance from expo to expo, and more importantly, narrow. There's not a lot of distance left and right to cover. Marines can control the space almost as effectively as Hellions can. So you can almost use the Marines as a replacement Hellions, and players like doing that a little more because Marines are used in the late game army, in the 2-2 timing push, whereas Hellions are not.
Yeah. It can be scary. And actually, you know, when coming back to what you were saying about that 7 to 13 minute mark, I saw a really, really kind of relatively new school of thought from a Zerg recently. It was Snoot going up against a Taran during our Intel Extreme Masters qualifiers. And it was basically him saying, I'm going to take a third really, really quickly. And I don't really care how many drones you're going to kill because I'm just going to make ridiculous amount of drones. And even though he lost like 20 or 30 early on, he was still 20 ahead because he was just constantly producing waves of 10, 11, 12 in quick succession. It was insane to watch.
And I mean, one of the, continuing along that, we're seeing players start to get not 1 but 2 macro hatches on 3 bases just to have enough Zergling production to hold off that mid-game push. Per usual, we're seeing Scarlett do the Zerg standard, which is to get the gases between 5 and 5:30, and this will be followed up by an expand close to 6 minutes. And assuming that you are excellent at defending against pressure and defraying any early threats, then you can quite straightforwardly get 1-1 Zergling speed, layer, third, all fast.
Yeah. As for now, we will have extra command center on the way for MarineKing. And Zergling's going to poke up here, and somebody rightly points out that yes, Snoot did get owned in that series, but he had the potential to transition onwards. God.
Oh, man. Oh, that's so good. You know what some players are doing? A strategy that doesn't let them advance against Taran players.
But no, he had the potential to transition on, is what I want to say. and what is very, very right and accurate. So, but he's Lucifron, so I mean, what do you do? He's pretty good at those kind of things.
Okay, that actually is a little makes a good little bit more sense. Acer Scarlett, as we see again, getting the 2 Evo chambers, the 3rd base, the speed, and soon enough the lair, all in very rapid succession. And meanwhile, MarineKing is not shy with his plans. He is already starting the 1-1 upgrade, and it's time to do a little bit of what I call maths. A level 1 is 160 seconds for the upgrade. Level 2 attack is 190 seconds. That's 350 seconds total, or in other words, just shy of 6 minutes. So if you start it at 7, as we're seeing MarineKing Prime do, he can begin his push at 13 minutes with 2-2. Again, everything needs to be as powerful as possible in the 13-minute to 17-minute arena, so that's why we're seeing that early of engineering bay. It's not earlier upgrades are better, it's haha, I have 2-2 at this specific time.
And I would also like to do some maths on my side of things for our Zergy player, Sean, in the form of how many creep trimmers do we have active right now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, and actually this is already at the 8.5 minute mark, getting a little bit crazy because this is... Scarlett somehow finds a way to spread this so ridiculously fast, and it's getting out of hand already. So MarineKing needs to do something. Actually, he needs to start containing with the Hellions, but they haven't even moved out yet, Sean.
And you know what's so fantastic about this creep spread from Scarlett's point of view is that even with this limited number of units, 6 Zerglings and 5 Queens, Scarlett can very comfortably defend against these kinds of pushes because all the Queens can easily maneuver to any location as fast as they need to, and any units that come out are going to be significantly more powerful.
Yeah. And I think also there's a slight disclaimer on the creep spread here that we're having, is that a map like Ohana is a fantastic map to spread creep on, like just ridiculously good, because there's no open high ground, low ground annoyances in the middle of the map. So this is one of the aspects that adds and attributes to this amazing, amazing creep spread that we're seeing here from Scarlett.
This is really, really quite exceptional. 1-1. Already finishing up, 2-2, getting started. The question in my eyes is MarineKing Prime going to have enough units to coincide with this 2-2? He has so few things.
I'm under the impression that he just kind of sees all this creep with the Hellions as in a little bit flabbergasted. I don't really... Because he can't move onto the creep with the Hellions. They just haven't actually breached any 3rd locations. There's been 1 worker killed, and that was by Scarlett, guys. So... the Hellions really haven't paid for themselves just yet.
Gosh, look, I mean, you're already seeing Scarlett really power up hard with that gas timing. Already getting the geysers at the 3rd and 4th before they're even done. 7 infestors coming out, 2-2. Baneling speed, pathogen glands, all the things lining up right now. And in terms of that unit count, we're seeing 20 Marines out right now for MKP. He's going to be able to, in a moment, produce 9 at a time. But I don't actually know if that's going to get him as many Marines as when Bomber ends up doing this style of play.
And in terms of what we're actually seeing in this game, Day9, is it this creep spread? Does it allows Scarlett to take this 4th just relatively uncontested? Is that accurate in saying? I mean, I don't see MarineKing being able to put any pressure on that right now.
You know, my internet blipped for a second, and I know you asked me a question, but I have no idea what that question was.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I was just talking about the creep spread allowing. Does it allow Scarlett to take that 3rd all the quicker? Because it's just so hard for him to pressure.
Absolutely. Yeah, the 3rd, the 4th, and we're seeing that this is now starting to define the attack paths. There's a very, very clear section where you see just to the left of that watchtower where MarineKing Prime is basically claiming, I will be able to take this out. Sure, he's stimming and taking out the right path, but the creep is still there from Scarlett. Scarlett's food is just skyrocketing up 90 drones, as you were talking about, that snoot-esque maneuver. And now Scarlett's going straight for the Broodlords. This is dangerous as hell. Extremely dangerous. But given the fact that the creep spread is this good, I think that Scarlett should be reasonably okay.
Yeah, especially on a map like Ohana, you have to be careful transitioning onto Broodlords that quickly. It's easy for Terrans to, well, I mean, once the creep's gone, it can be easy for Terrans to try and put on some pressure from the ground, and with that, you sometimes need those Ultralisks out pretty quickly to try and deal with those kinds of initiatives from the Taran.
Now, this is something that's a little disappointing about this build that we see out of MarineKing Prime. Even though he got up the mega fast upgrades, he has only 33 Marines. Bomber, at this point in time, is maxed with 75 Marines and 2-2. So, I mean, you're already seeing that part of the optimization of this timing attack is not just getting the upgrades super fast, it's about getting units to go along with those upgrades super fast as well. And we're seeing Scarlett has already spread the creep well up into the 4th base. MarineKing is even scared to move out, and all the delay tactics for Scarlett are working out just perfectly. Perfect.
Yeah, it's not about killing MarineKing here at all. Scarlett's avoiding engagements, guys. She's not going to take too much here. Maybe if she can catch a few Marines at the front, then that's great. She'll land some fungals and then kill those off. But behind this, she's getting 3-3. She's getting adrenal glands. She's getting those corruptors out to prepare for those broodlords. And if you can find a way right now in which the Terran can put on some pressure without having to clear up all of this creep and walk somehow through a minefield of fungals, then maybe MarineKing can shut down these broodlords, but not right now.
And look at this. MarineKing tries to send over a couple of Marines to pick off these queens, but no dice. The creep spread too good. Zerglings can easily swap back and forth. 5th base down now. For Scarlett, we're seeing 8 Broodlords in production, and that is some scary fast Broodlords. 1530. I mean, MarineKing Prime is very nearly dead in the water. He has an increasingly closing window.
And look at this. This is another thing I talked about before. MarineKing always, without scouting out anything. You've got to remember, all MarineKing's seen right now is his opponent's main command center and his opponent's, well, natural and main base, basically. He hasn't seen any tech. So he mixes in Marauders to try and deal with all of this, but it just doesn't work here because Broodlords are out, and that's really hard for him to sort out.
I mean, this is honestly a huge shock to a Terran player to be moving out right now and then to go, oh, there's Broodlords. And we sort of see that response back home as 3 starports go down. 3-3 will be done for MarineKing in a little bit, but I mean, it's not quite as nice as you'd like. And if you look at the Scarlett vision cam, Scarlett sees absolutely everything. Here's the push that MarineKing was poised to do all game long, but the creep spread from Scarlett is getting even close into MarineKing's main.
And as I said before, I'm pretty sure that MarineKing here is not just making these 3 starports for Vikings. He's going to go for the Ravens, like I was talking about before.
Yeah.
I've sort of predicted everything MarineKing's going to do, but it's because I've seen a lot of his games on Ohana, and he does not deviate from this strategy, guys, against Zerg. He just does not. And with the Sensor Tower, he's going to be able to keep a good eye on his opponents if Scarlett's going to push his 4th, but it's all going to be about Scarlett pushing down that left-hand side for now.
There's that orbital command that's floating at the left side now under duress from Corruptor.
Oh, wow.
But MarineKing is still forcing things back a little bit.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, actually, MarineKing is going for... Oh, never mind. Zerglings are going to flood in here. MarineKing's going to take the engagement. Fungals across the entire Terran army.
Oh, my God. Storming in, infested Terrans, fungal growths. Supply for Scarlett barely drops below 200. MarineKing Prime just gets smoked with his 3-3 upgrades. Oh, this is so gross to watch.
I mean, Scarlett retained a lot of her infestors as well. And actually, you know, MarineKing is actually deviating. He's just going exclusively 8 Vikings at a time to try and deal with this. He's actually not going for the Ravens. He realizes he can't get that without actually taking a lot of damage in the process. So he has to get all of those Vikings out now, along with this bio support, to try and deal with this. But Scarlett is barreling down on this 4th, and if she wants to, I think she could kill it.
Gosh, I mean... MarineKing Prime has been able to put on literally 0 pressure all game long.
Yeah.
You know, some due to Scarlett, but largely due to his own selection of builds. And we're seeing that, you know, maybe if your opponent is a little bit slower or overreacts to what you're doing, you might be able to be in a good spot as MarineKing Prime, but Scarlett is just not going to let that fly. Just says, all right, sweet, you're not attacking me. All right, I'm going to take 5 bases and get 15-minute Broodlords, if that's cool with you. And now we're seeing the army Add on 15 Banelings. 2 Spires are up right now with Flyer Attack and Flyer Strike getting upgraded. I mean, this is incredible.
I mean, Sean, when going into a TVZ, how often do you see a Taran that has killed no workers against a Zerg? It's 0 workers to 11 workers killed for Scarlett.
And if you actually go to the Units Lost tab, it's only 10k from MarineKing Prime. I mean, it's been one engagement. There's really just not that much that's gone on, save for that one attack. Scarlett's just punishing us beautifully. And even look at the left side. Creep is still spreading on that control group 0 for Scarlett. She has that Queen eagerly dropping more creep tumors.
Wow. Just taking a lot of precautions here, making sure that every single avenue will be covered. Even getting that creep going, once again, as you pointed out, just allows for extra defensive situations if your army is not able to vanquish them. Has to be very careful. Lands a fungal on actually some of these Vikings here. Another fungal on a ton of those Vikings. They're very clumped up. All these chain fungals come down. So many corruptors. If those Vikings die off, those Broodlords are going to have full reign, but it doesn't matter. The Broodlords and the Banelings clean up everything on the ground.
Holy cow. I mean, well,
there you go.
Good game.
Oh
Scarlett decimates MarineKing Prime in game number 1. And you know, I gotta say, I understand. Okay, so in that 7 to 13 minute period, that is a strong strike timing. TSL's Pulse strikes in there very often to deal damage to a player who just doesn't really have his layer tech ready to go yet. Then you have a player like Bomber, who will strike from the 13 to 17 minute mark with around 75 to 100 Marines, 8 or 9 tanks, 2 medevacs, sometimes 4 medevacs, a big, big army. And what did we see there? We saw MarineKing Prime get out 13-minute 2-2. He sacrificed all ability to do pressure. He sacrificed everything to get it out that early. And only had 30 Marines and 2 tanks. I mean, MarineKing Prime really misoptimized his opening and essentially put himself in a spot where he had super upgraded small armies. So, I mean, if that's the way you look from start to finish, there's no way you can win.
And it heavily conflicts with what Scarlett was doing as well. The rapidity of that creep spread means that you end up in a situation where you're going for that push out, but you can't even breach the halfway mark of the map because there's so much control for the Zerg player. So, difficult.
Yeah, I mean, guys, MarineKing Prime really, really needs to readjust the way he's playing because straight up his build order is not going to work well against a Zerg of Scarlett's caliber. So let's go throw to a commercial so that when we come back, we can hop right into game 2. Guys, we're not going to commercial yet. Do you understand me? Listen, this is what's going to happen. We're going to relaunch the stream, as I have just been informed. And that is to ensure that any of you who are having any connection issues will be repaired, because I want you to know the entire internet connection from the Iron Squid is actually being powered by the tech man Gregory. He's on a large hamster wheel. Gregory. He's just gotten some extra electrolytes in his system. He's feeling juiced enough to be able to do another round, so we'll be rebooting the stream in just a sec, guys. Stay tuned.